So, as we heard in the readings, Christmas is a symbol to course students of the birth of our holy self into our mind. So I looked up birth in dictionary.com, and birth means the act or process of bringing forth something. So in the last reading, we listened to what we are bringing forth. All power, all good, holiness, love, and peace. If we want to celebrate the birth of Christ in this holy season and experience peace, then in order to have a successful birth, the first thing we must do is choose the teacher that will ensure its success. So let's look at our choices. The Holy Spirit's function is to be a midwife to this birth, a helper, a guide, a teacher that knows just what needs to happen in the mind, what beliefs need to be let go in order for the birth of what we are to come into our awareness. The ego's function is to drown out the voice for God and stop this birth from happening. If the Christ is born, the ego disappears. The ego knows just how to keep you in the world and out of the mind, and what ideas to get you to believe in order for the Christ to remain unbirthed. It's obvious that if we want peace, love, all power, and all good, then we must let go of the ego and let God, or the Holy Spirit, lead us. We've all heard the phrase, let go and let God. Many have used this idea with great success in experiencing God's presence in their life. It's a simple and straightforward instruction: surrender and trust. So tonight I wanted to talk about letting go or surrendering and letting God or trust, because it's through these actions that we experience the birth of holiness, love, and peace. But before I speak about what it means to let go and let God, I want to ask you this. Are you aware that it is peace that you desire? If you asked yourself in a moment of struggle, what do I want? Would you answer the peace, love, and holiness of my true self? Most often the answer has to do with the things of this world, or to have a situation change, or if we are aware of the disturbing thoughts in our mind, which most of us at this point are, we are usually focused on those disturbing thoughts. We think about the guilt, the fear, the rejection, and we don't focus on what we want. So I wanted to spend just a few minutes to get clear about what we want. Peace is defined as a state of mind of harmony, serenity, absence of fear, a heart and mind at rest in love, knowing a safety that can come only from being in God's embrace. When we think about peace in this way, is there any circumstance you find yourself in that this would not be what you desire? And if someone is in emotional or physical pain, fear, or distress, isn't this state of mind what would set them free? And if you could give it to them, wouldn't it set them free? But how can you give something that you do not have? You must receive before you can give. So how do you receive this peace? This peace is not attained through intellectual understanding, nor can we get it from anything in this world. This peace is within our mind, but it's hidden by egoic thinking, and it is waiting to be invited in. And letting go and letting God is the invitation for it to enter. So what does letting go or surrender mean? And what exactly are we letting go of? So I came up with 3 things that I know in my own life have been a process of letting go. All right, so I wanted to go through these 3 things, and maybe you can see where you are clinging and not letting go. So the first one I came up with was behavior. The behaviors that we need to let go of in order to let God or to be in touch with Holy Spirit. So the 3 that I came up with is being the doer. The other one is control. And the other one that I came up with is planning. So, if you happen to be one that likes to be a doer, a controller, or a planner, then the message for letting go is let go of doing, controlling, and planning. So what happens for you when I say that? Is there fear? What is the fear about? Is it the ego telling you that if you don't do it, who will? If you don't control things, bad things will happen? If you don't plan, you will be left with nothing? It is the ego mind that is telling you that you must do something, control something, or make a plan. And that's exactly what the ego voice is designed to do. It's doing its function. It's keeping the birth of God's love out of your awareness. And by listening, we are not letting go and letting God be in charge. So the doing, the planning, and the controlling. Okay. The next one I came up with was letting go of perception. So what is it that you see? Do you think you are correct in the way that you're seeing it? Are you accurately judging what it all means? Perception plays tricks. It seems to be accurate, and yet perception is an effect of thought. It is not a fact. Your physical eyes do report the form, but your mind provides how you will perceive the form. The mind's thinking gives the content. So I'll give you 2 examples. Let's say a client is late for an appointment. You perceive their lateness from your thinking. I am not respected. I will lose income. They are selfish. Or, wow, I have extra time I didn't think I had. So how about this example? You are driving down the expressway and someone crosses over into your lane. You have to swerve to avoid a terrible accident. You perceive their action from your thinking. They are so rude. People are not paying attention. They don't even care about who they hurt. Or this one. I wonder if they are all right. They must be upset about something. So as you can see, perception is not a fact because it is so varied. So we need to let it go. So what happens for you when I say that? Is it easy to let go of what you think you see? Remember that the ego voice is telling you the meaning of what you see. And its function is to keep you from the awareness of holiness, love, and peace. And look what a great job it's doing. Okay, so that's the second letting go, is perception. The third letting go is thinking. This keeps getting harder. All thinking that does not bring the peace of God, the sense of unity in love, and the understanding that we are spirits that can do no wrong, that we are infinitely loved and cannot be harmed, is not true. All thinking that says this is not true. So you might think in this moment, well, that's 99% of what we think. So we would be 99% wrong. So if you're thinking in this way, we have to let go of this thinking. So what happens for you when I say that? Is there any resistance? Do you hear this thought? No way, I'm right. This is the way it is. This is what they did. This is what I did. This is what I am. So review just for a moment any thoughts that you have about something or someone in this moment that you believe you are right about. So just think about that for a moment. Are they thoughts of holiness? Do they bring an experience of serenity, harmony, absence of fear? So here we can see again that the ego is doing a very good job making sure the birth of Christ doesn't happen in our mind. Okay, so now that we have a better idea of what it means to let go, so let's just review. We have to let go of control, planning, being the doer, let go of your perception, how you are seeing yourself, how you are seeing others and the world. Let go of your ego thinking, including all thoughts of failure, unworthiness, rejection, attack, unfairly treated, persecution, guilt. Should I go on? Okay, so can't seem to let go. You know, I love that line, let go and let God, but boy, when you start thinking about what letting go means. So we can all agree when we look at what letting go means. And that could all just take one little instant. And then God, we're listening to Holy Spirit. So letting go is really difficult. So I want you to consider what holding on means. If you hold on to these things, you are delaying the peace of God. Think about that. If you hold on to the way you think, the way you see something, then you are delaying the peace of God. So I want to share with you a story about that. Some of you may have heard this story. A famous teacher took his pupils into a clearing in the forest that was known as a home for wild monkeys. There he took a hollow gourd with a small hole and inserted sweetened rice, which is a favorite of monkeys. Then he chained the gourd to a stake and waited with his class. Soon a very large monkey approached, sniffed the rice, inserted his paw, and screeched in frustration when he was unable to withdraw his paw, now a fist, through the narrow opening. Just then a leopard approached, and hearing the monkey screeching, decided to have the monkey for his dinner. "Let go of the rice! Run!" screamed the pupils, but to no avail because the monkey, in his hunger for the rice, refused to let go, and as a consequence was caught and eaten by the leopard. "What was it that trapped the monkey?" asked the master. "Rice," said one student. "The leopard," said another. "The gourd," said another. "No," replied the wise teacher. "It was not letting go." So the monkey had a choice to make. Continue to cling or let go. So at the time, it seemed like holding on to the rice was a good choice, but in hindsight, not so much. So we cling, believing it is what we want. But not letting go is keeping us from safety, peace, love, holiness, and joy. And isn't this what we really want? So, I'd like you now to take a moment where I can maybe motivate you even just a little further in letting go. So consider this. The ego cannot get you where you want to go. The ego only leads to misery. The ego cannot give you the peace of God. The ego cannot birth the Christ into your awareness. It does feel at times when we are gripped by ego thoughts, perceptions, and fears that it is beyond our power to let go. But of course, that is just another ego thought that we need to let go of. So I'll share with you this thing that happened for me once. I was really in the throes of a lot of egoic thinking and perception, and therefore in a lot of pain. And I was crying out to Holy Spirit, and I said, help me. And suddenly in my mind, I got a picture of a huge cactus with long pointy spikes, and I was clutching the cactus, and it hurt. And the Holy Spirit said, just let go. So that was a teaching for me. I was crying out to Holy Spirit, knowing I was in pain because of my thinking and my perception, thinking that somehow Holy Spirit could wrestle my hands off of the painful thought. And what was the message that was given to me? Don't you see? It's hurting you. Just let go. So I want to talk to you a little bit about trust, though. Because if you do let go, then what are you surrendering to? Is there a net to catch you? Will the learning result in freedom from suffering? Will you gain or lose? You see, we have to have faith that what we are going towards is better than what we are leaving behind. But sometimes the ego thoughts seem to make sense, and there is doubt, when looking toward the unknown. That is why trust is so important in the birthing process. So I wanted to share with you this story. It's a story that's called, Is There Life After Birth? And it's a conversation between two embryos. So one embryo says to the other, do you believe in life after birth? Of course, there must be something after birth. We are probably here to prepare ourselves for what comes next. And the other embryo says, but that's silly. After birth there is nothing. How could there be anything more? And if there was, what does it look like? I don't know for sure, but there will be more light than what we get in here. Maybe we will walk with our legs and eat with our mouths. No, that's just plain weird. We cannot walk, we float. And to eat with the mouth, that would be ridiculous. We eat through our umbilical cords. Oh, come on, there must be something more, some purpose to all of this. It will probably be very different than what we know now. Well, what proof is there? The facts are that life is nothing more than the perpetual crowding and darkness. I don't know how it will be after we are born, but I know we will find Mother and she will take care of us. Oh, come on, Mother. Don't tell me you believe in Mother. That's a myth, a fantasy. Where could she be? No one has ever seen her. Have you ever seen her? No, I have not seen her, but I can feel her. I just know it in my heart. She is everywhere. She is all around us. We live in her and through her. We are a part of her, and she is a part of us. Without her, we would not exist. That's crazy. I don't believe you. I have never seen anything like a mother, and neither have you, so she obviously doesn't exist. She does exist. Sometimes, when we are very quiet, we can hear her singing and patting the world around us. So the story speaks of faith, but it also teaches that it is only when we are quiet that we can hear the voice for God and know that God is with us. The quiet comes when we let go. We let go of being the doer, controlling and planning, of perception, of thinking. So all of this letting go, it actually leads us to silence. And now we can let God do the rest. So I was thinking about this letting go and thinking of all the things that I'm being asked to let go of in the moment so I can hear Holy Spirit and so I can feel the peace of God. And I came up with 3 things that were helpful to me. And I will tell you that the letting go works really well when we actually ask questions. Because when you ask a question that the ego voice cannot answer, it leaves a space. So the first question I ask is, what is it I want to learn? So in this moment, what is it I want to learn? So let's say I'm planning, let's say I'm thinking things and I'm perceiving things. If I ask this question, what is it I want to learn? As soon as I ask that question, of course, what are we going to say? We want to learn about love. We want to learn we are love. We want to learn we are good. We want to learn about God's love, our innocence, that we can do no wrong. We want to learn that we're safe. I mean, think about how you would answer that and fill in the questions or fill in the answers. But that's actually only the beginning of the letting go, because the next thing you have to ask yourself is, what am I willing to let go of to learn this lesson? So if you want to learn of innocence and you want to learn about love, what do you have to let go of to learn it? And what are you willing to let go of? Are you willing to let go of your thinking? Are you willing to let go of the guilt trip? Are you willing to let go of the grievance? Are you willing to let go of the ego thoughts? If you are willing to let go so you can learn what you want to learn, then the next question you can ask is, what am I to learn? What am I to know? How am I to see this? How shall I think? What am I to hear? How shall I respond? What am I to do? I mean, think about those questions. Because if you ask those questions and you're asking that to wisdom, now you have let go. And now you're ready to let God. If you haven't done those steps up till then, you're still in the driver's seat. You're still listening to the ego. You're still letting the ego fulfill its function, which is to keep you away from your innocence, from the love. Because when you say, how shall I see this? What shall I think? In this moment, you are finally in silence. And now you can hear. And like that story of the embryos, it was in the silence that they heard and felt the presence of something they couldn't see, but they knew was there. So the Holy Spirit will tell you everything you need to know and will show you the truth if you are listening. So we need a lot of practice to be quiet and to let go. So I would like to lead you right now in a guided meditation where we can go through this a little bit together. All right? So just get nice and comfortable. And I'm just going to adjust the music a little bit. So find a comfortable spot. So just close your eyes and take a couple of deep breaths. Just relax and sink into your chair and let your muscles relax. And just breathe normally. And I will say this prayer, and in your mind, repeat the line to yourself. The light of God is in my mind. The love of God is what I am. The power of God is my protection and my strength. The wisdom of God directs me in all things. Wherever I go, God is, because God is in my mind. And so it is. You're going to create a space within your mind, your inner sanctuary, where you can listen. So first, decide if you would like to go upstairs or downstairs into this space. Once you are on the stairs, go slowly and peacefully to a place. It could be a room or a place outdoors. When you arrive, look around and notice the symbols of peace in this room or outdoors. Maybe a warm breeze, or a comfy couch, or soft grass, or billowing curtains. And just take a moment to create this sanctuary or this inner place of peace. With you in this room is a guide, a loving presence that is there at your request to bring to you your heart's desire. So spend a moment greeting your guide and expressing gratitude for their help. Your guide begins by showing you an altar. On this altar are symbols of love. Maybe it's a picture of Jesus, or the Buddha, or a Hindu god. Or maybe it's beautiful smooth rocks, a namaste pendant, or maybe a sparkling crystal. Look at the symbols and give gratitude for their message of safety, peace, innocence, and love. Now that you are feeling safe, your guide is going to ask you a question. Holy child of God, what is it that you want to learn? And just answer your guide in your own way. And now your guide asks you another question. Holy child of God, what is it that you are willing to let go of in order that I may teach you what you want to learn? So search your mind for what you might be clinging to. And when you find them, approach the altar and place each one on the altar as a symbolic gesture that you are willing to let them go. And now it is your turn to ask your guide a question. Remember that your guide always answers in the symbols that are best for you. Could be imagery, sensation, thought, feeling, words. So here is your question. Holy Presence, please tell me, what shall I learn from you in this moment? And be still. You have let go. Now you can let God answer.